Hey guys, how are you doing today? I hope that you are doing fantastic. I know that I'm doing fantastic. I am super excited about how many books I read in the month of May. Like, you guys know, I had a struggle in April. I was just super down in the dumps and I couldn't focus on reading. I couldn't focus on doing pretty much anything except being like a couch potato. And it was super depressing. I only read 4 books last month, but this month I've read 13 books and I'm so excited about it. Now I do want to let you guys know that not all of them are cozies. I know. I sort of like stepped outside my comfort zone and really like nailed it on everything that I have read. So I'm super excited about it. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so the very first book that I read in the month of May, I don't know where I put it. I tried looking on my bookshelf, but I don't know if I'm just blind or if like someone knocked it over somewhere. I'm not quite sure, but it is one of my absolute favorite books. I actually did a sort of like reading vlog with it, so if you really want to see all of my like first reactions, then you can go and check that out. I'll leave it linked down below, but it's The New Adventures of Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, The Case of the Golden Slipper. This was my absolute favorite of the adventures of Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. I was super excited when my best friend Brienne was able to find not only this book but a whole entire stack of the New Adventures of Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen at our local used bookstore, Gardner's. Sorry, Cleo's trying to like knock off all of my books over here. Cleo. But I was super excited about this, and I kind of wanted to do like a new first impressions, because I remember reading it as a kid. I was like, yeah, this book's awesome. Like, I could totally see me doing that without any adults. Kids rule, adults drool. And then now, like, teacher Courtney's like, that was irresponsible and you shouldn't have done it. Like, why didn't you call an adult? And so it was a lot of fun to read. I had a blast with it, like so much so. The next book that I read was Tina Fey Bossy Pants. I sort of got like a handful of books from my book outlet, the book outlet site, which I did a miniature book haul from, and this was one of them. And this was just so much fun to read. I've been really like taking in nonfiction books as well as just sort of getting a little bit out of the genre that I normally read. I've just been feeling vibes from other things, and so I really loved learning about Tina Fey and the way she got into showbiz and how hard she worked and everything like that. And she was just funny and quirky, and it was really easy to relate to her in this book. And so if you're ever looking for like a fun, easy autobiography to read, I really do recommend this book. The next book that I read was This Savage Song by V.E. Schwab. Now, I started this book a while ago, like, I don't know, probably like 6 months ago. And then I wasn't into it at the time. I think that Aaron and I were driving to Nebraska and we put on the audiobook and we were listening to it, but for some reason the audiobook didn't really like grab me. And so then I checked it out from my local library, and I just checked it out on Overdrive and read it on my Kindle, and I loved it so much so that I checked out the next book, Our Dark Duet, which I finished on June 1st, so that's gonna be part of June's wrap up, even though like I read the majority of it in May. It doesn't count, I finished it in June. So I really liked this. It was sort of like a Romeo and Juliet kind of retelling, like in a way, I guess. But I liked the monsters and Verity and all of that. It was really fun to read. I really enjoyed it. The next 3 books that I'm going to talk about are all in the same series. So I read Illuminae, I read Gemina, and I read Obsidio, all within like, I don't know, like a week. And holy shit, like, guys, I love that series now. Like, I can't even explain to you how much I love this series. I love the way that it's told in like different dossiers. Like it's told from like a journal point of view, or a video, someone, you know, transcribing what's going on in the video, like different aspects like that. And I thought that that was really, really unique. I'd never seen that kind of writing, and I read it on, I read all 3 of them on my Kindle, which I kind of wish I just owned them, because there were some spots on the Kindle that you couldn't zoom in to read, so I'm pretty sure I missed like some significant parts that would have had my feelings attached to all of the characters a little bit more. But overall, I loved the series. It actually made me cry. It made me like freak out in some aspects. Like, oh, they had me guessing a lot, and I really, really enjoyed, seriously enjoyed this series. I highly, highly recommend the Illuminae files. You won't regret it, I promise. And the next book I'm going to talk about is Calm. It's Calm the Mind, Change the World by Michael Acton Smith. I did talk about this in another I think video where I talked about just how much I loved this book. And I love, like, it's a book that you can read over and over again at any point in your life, and you will get something from it. There is also an app that was made, and it's a meditation app. So it helps you focus your mind. It helps sort of guide you into inner peace, I guess you could say. And I just really, really liked all of it. Like, I love the back. It says, "Do you ever take a walk with nowhere to go? Turn off your phone for more than 5 minutes. Savor a chocolate on the tip of your tongue. There has never been a more important time to stop, recharge, and join the Calm Revolution." And it says, using a mix of creative prompts, activities, and motivations, Calm will open your eyes to the pleasures and richness of everyday life. Discover how to take back a little bit of peace, space, and all-important time for yourself. Inside, you'll find journal-like pages to describe your day, black and white designs to color in, word games, and puzzles. Calm is inspirational, practical, and contains no rules. Pick up Calm whenever you need it, dip in and out, and choose how you want to use it. Be calm, be free, be yourself. And that's sort of how I've been really, really thinking about things lately. I've been very, very zen, I guess you could say, doing yoga every day and sort of just finding my inner peace with myself, because I realized, like, the little things that would irritate me during the day, if it was a sound of someone chewing, or, you know, just these little things that kept my anxiety peaked. If I took time for myself every single day, whether that was just 10 minutes of yoga or 20 minutes of yoga or whatever it was, and I just took time out for myself, those little things stopped bothering me as much. And hopefully that as I continue going down this journey, they won't bother me at all, because it has nothing to do with me. And so I really, really loved this book. The next book that I read and finished is this one over here, and it is Eclair and Present Danger, an Emergency Dessert Squad mystery series by Laura Bradford. And we did our live stream talk on it. It's on my channel if you want to go and see a more in-depth on how I felt about this book. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. I believe that it seemed like it wasn't really a mystery. The main character, Winnie Johnson, has inherited an ambulance and a cat that she didn't necessarily want. And I mean, she's just going through sort of like a crisis in her life, which most cozy mysteries have. But a neighbor is found killed. Winnie actually finds him killed. And normally our sleuths are trying to really go and try and figure out who did it. And she just doesn't seem, she sort of like stumbles upon it all, and I don't know, it wasn't the best. I am really, really wanting some of these emergency desserts though. Like, if I could call an emergency dessert squad person, that would totally be a thing that I do. But I mean, overall, it was an okay-ish book. I mean, I wouldn't say no to reading the second one, but as I was talking to a whole bunch of people during our live stream, a couple of people had already read the first like 3, and they say that it doesn't really get that much better. So I'm not like going to jump and go out of my way and buy the second or third book in the series. So it was a 3. The next book that I read, and these are not in any order because I don't want to go back to my Goodreads and then like read through all the lists in like the order that I specifically read them. But I read The Philosopher's Flight, half science, half magic, entirely fantastic, a novel by Tom Miller. This was, I don't remember what month it was. I know that normally Book of the Month Club, February 2018. This was my February 2018 Book of the Month Club pick, and I am so freaking happy that I picked this book. It's like, I don't even know how to explain it really. The main character is Robert Weeks, and it says is one of the few men who practice empirical philosophy, an arcane female-dominated branch of science used to summon the wind, heal the injured, and even fly. So this sort of goes back into like the early 1800s, but it's sort of like rewriting history and putting empirical philosophy in it. Sort of like it says, half science, half magic, entirely fantastic kind of point of view. And we're following Robert Weeks, his whole entire point of view throughout the years. Like it starts in April 1917, and I love the fact that the chapters have like sort of like a history quote or something along those lines. And there's like a specific school for the people who learn the philosophies, and he's sort of trying to change the world's mind on men being a philosopher. And what I'm even more freaking excited about, guys, is that I found out that this is gonna be a trilogy. Because like, as I was reading it, I was like 50 pages away from the end, and I was like, there's no way in hell they're finishing this book in 50 pages. Like, there are too many unanswered questions for them to just stop this book. Like, it can't happen. And I was so right. It is going to be a series, because I would have flipped a gasket had this book not ended the way I wanted it, or it not tell me that it was going to be a series. But this was a 5-star read for me, guys. Like, I highly recommend this book. It is, I am eagerly awaiting 2019 when the next book comes out, because it's going to be freaking brilliant. The next book that I read was The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F by Mark Manson. And I liked this book, but I didn't like it as much as You Are a Badass. Like, You Are a Badass, I really, like, I felt like it hit me to my core and really helped me get out of my slump and sort of just, you know, really focus on me being me. But The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck was like, I don't know. I kind of feel like he half-assed it. I don't know, maybe it's because it was written by a guy and his point of view was sort of like dry and kind of heartless, and I didn't really like his whole entire philosophy of, you know, like, I don't know. I didn't like it very much. I think I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. It was okay, but nowhere near as amazing as You Are a Badass. I loved that book. And then the last 2 books are books that I read on yoga. So one is After Namaste. It's Off the Mat Musings of a Modern Yogini, and it's by K. Chris Loomis, and it was a book that I was able to find on Kindle Unlimited, and it was really, really good. I liked the idea of, you know, you're not done with yoga the moment you get off your mat. You're sort of, you're doing more. It's a mindset. It's not just something that, it's not like you just going for a run and then coming home and then that's it. No, it's a way of feeling, the way of being yourself. And then the other one that I read was Yoga for Curvy Girls, a guide, because, you know, I'm not the skinniest person in the world. I'm not afraid to tell you. I'm a size 10, and I'm not a toothpick, and sometimes it's really, really hard to go out in shorts or a tank top or a shirt that's, you know, maybe feels a little bit too tight. And I loved the fact that this book was available for someone like me and other women who have more curves, and it made me feel more comfortable. It gave you hints on how to do specific positions to make maybe feel a little bit better, and so that was a lot of fun to read as well, especially with like getting more into my yoga journey and everything like that. I really, really enjoyed it. So those were the 13 books that I read in the month of May, and I can't believe I read that many. I had no idea that I read that many until I was looking on my Goodreads, and I was like, well, look at me go. I was super proud of myself. But remember, guys, it's not all about how many books you read. It's the pleasure that you take and the act of taking time for yourself to read something that makes you happy. And so I read a whole bunch of books that made me happy this month. I read a couple that I was like, about, but overall, it was a really good reading month. How was your reading month in the month of May? Let me know down below. How many books did you get done? What was your absolute favorite book that you read this month that you're like, Courtney, girl, get on this book. I promise you, you'll love it, because I always get recommendations from you guys, and I never regret what I read with your recommendations. So that's the end of this chapter of Courtagonist. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, happy reading. Bye.